Nice stretch. Thanks, Chris. So like you mentioned, we're going to pick up the scale a little bit to talk about urban planning. So one of the challenges of urban planning is generally how you tell a story of something that's gigantic in scale. And in historical times, you would have drawn on a wall and tried to get people to figure out what it meant to them. Well, to solve this problem, it's no surprise that we looked to two partners from Esri and CityEngine and the Unreal folks to take our two challenges and put them together. So in a typical workflow, we start with imagery, CAD data, GIS information, and you put that together, apply some rules to it, and you generally can generate a city. So here's a good example of one of the scenarios where you use smart codes, and smart codes in this project were just means of illustrating what kinds of urban districts you'd find based on color scheme. You put that together with the power of CityEngine and use procedural rules, and you get this very powerful workflow of being able to define many different workflows to generate a city. So from there, I'll pass it off to Pascal, and he'll illustrate how this all comes together.
Thank you, Greg. So here, now you see CityEngine and the scene which HOK did. And as you can see, this is a pretty huge scene, thousands of buildings, millions of polygons. And with CityEngine, you have all the tools to create the streets and distribute buildings and have different types of buildings, etc. So what you're looking at here is all procedural content, so it means I can go in, change levels of details, or, for example, of course, can edit my building, so I can change the height of the building, or I can change facades or windows. So it means you can do all kinds of different architectural styles, and if you are into procedural content, I really recommend to try it out. There's a free trial. And the coolest thing, next version of CityEngine will have Datasmith export. So that means if you registered for the beta, then you can take in such big data sets with just a few clicks into Unreal. And now I give it to Pierre Felix, who shows you how this looks like.
Thank you, Pascal. So what you're looking at here is the same model that was exported from CityEngine through the Datasmith API in Unreal. We're talking about something like 25,000 plus objects and 100 million polygons that are displaying in real time. The user didn't have much to do with this. It's a simple export, so we carry over all materials, all objects, everything's placed properly. So photoreal information is not the only thing. Through all this, what we are also able to do is, back to those smart code examples that Greg was talking about, is to use Unreal as a presentation tool where we can mix photoreal information and non-photoreal information in such a way that architects can start to use Unreal as a presentation platform where now metadata that gets carried over from CityEngine can get displayed into the same environment, basically. So the other thing that is really interesting is that we can experience city in a real-time fashion. So, for example, in this case, lighting is not pre-baked. Everything is real-time, and there's more to it.
So what you're seeing on screen is the perfect reason, exactly the reason you'd want to use a game engine to help tell the story of an urban design project. You can populate a scene with people, help to give stakeholders the ability to really understand how a city works, how they could occupy it, and really feel the context. So with that, I thank you. We're going to pass it over to Mark.